Welcome to another message crawler update. Today I have a number of miscellaneous items that I want to go over. I've been tweaking things here and there, and I kind of want to do a summary video of various little things I've adjusted. So let's go to the screen and talk about it. And where I want to start is WhatsApp. Now WhatsApp is a bit of a pain to support because there's just so much variation with different exports, right? You can have dates in a different format. You can have your attachment indicator in different languages. And what I've been seeing lately is there are entries in WhatsApp text file that don't really follow consistent structure. So we have people joining and leaving the channel, and the people's names aren't formatted the same as for the normal messages, so it's really hard to parse those. I've seen also some weird cases where there's square brackets present in the body of a message. I'm still not sure what that's about, but what I did for this version is I improved error handling. And I know it doesn't solve all the problems, but what it does is it gives you better indication where problem occurred. And what you may have to do is navigate to that _chat.txt file, make some tweaks with the text editor, and then try loading it again. That's the best way I found it so far because I can't find any documentation or all the ways data can be stored in that _chat.txt file. It seems like it's consistent for like more than 99%, but then there are random lines that kind of throw things off. So the better error reporting will let you know when those errors do come up, and again, you may have to go with a text editor and either delete those lines or modify them or do something with them, depending on what the problem is. All right, next we need to talk about Slack. I made some improvements to how Slack works, and in fact, I've added Slack for Teams or loose JSON files here, so that's another import option. But the major update here is handling of deleted messages. So in Slack, messages don't actually get deleted when you delete them. Actually, let's take a look at one. So we have a Slack message right here. So when the message gets deleted, a new message gets created called deleted, and then this message gets attached to the deleted message. So the deleted message is more like a system message, it's not a real message. And then the real message becomes an attachment of the message. So in the previous versions of Message Crawler, I would prioritize my deleted, the parent message, right, that holds anything else. I would prioritize names and dates. But what I'm seeing now is it may not be the best way of handling it, because of how data is being deleted. Sometimes there are bots that go through and they kind of scrape the data and delete all the old stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm prioritizing the attached message that was deleted for dates and names and so on. And I capture only some information about the deletion, so there is a deleted date that gets preserved. I feel like that's a little bit better and gives people better results. Now, the weird thing about deleting in Slack, it actually makes no sense. Usually you delete things to save space, but in this case, you actually use up more space because deleting creates more messages than what you had before deletion. So I guess it just blocks users from seeing all the messages. It doesn't make any sense, this deletion thing in Slack, because nothing really ever gets deleted. It just gets wrapped inside another message. Point is improved handling for deleted. Now let's move on to Teams. So one of the hot topics is versioning of attachments. And so now there is a checkbox, look for prior versions of attachments. This is not a solution. This is more of an attempt at having something better than nothing. So every time you have multiple versions of a document, all of them will get attached to a message. So if you have a lot of versions, this is not actually going to be great. But if you have 3 or 4 versions, all of them will be attached to each instance of a message, and then you'll be able to see them. Now, Microsoft doesn't keep track of when those revisions were made or which message they go with. But having this option at least give people something so that we can locate all the different versions of an attachment. And in case you don't know, messages on SharePoint and Teams, they could be modified and saved over and over. And it's actually just a hyperlink that's being sent back and forth. So when you're doing collection of Teams, there is an option to say export all versions. And this is what this option going to do, is it's going to find all the versions of a message because they have _V in them. And this is the pattern that message crawler is looking for. Is this a perfect solution? No, absolutely not. But it is something to kind of hold us over until we really figure out how this versioning works, or Microsoft gives us better tools to export this out. All right, moving on to the next item. So something that's somebody mentioned to me and that's been bothering me is search and replace. And if you're in if you're using like backslashes and stuff, it's it will give you a weird error message. So I've taken care of that, so it doesn't do that. There's like one line of code that was a little weird and it didn't like backslashes, so that's been handled. Next, we want to talk about Bloomberg. Okay, so Bloomberg had a slightly different version of XML that's being generated now. So I'm allowing to import that version in, so there is a different version number. And what I try to do is, there is a code to determine whether Bloomberg is an email or instant message. And so now the instant message, new version of XML, kind of looks like an email, but with a different version. It's stupid. But anyway, so if you have a newer Bloomberg exports, they will be loaded here just fine. The other thing that was here is when people invite each other, the tool would pull out invitee company, not inviter company. This doesn't even go into RSMF. It was just getting extracted in columns. So that was a bug that I fixed. And finally, this is something that people have been asking for, is when we export RSMF files. So when attachments get pulled in, there is a zip file that's been created that's attached to the RSMF. And the dates on the zip file were off the date when the file is zipped. You can't put all the created, modified, accessed, all the dates in the zip. So what I did in this version, I'm actually capturing the original last modified date of the attachment and overwriting that inside of the zip file. So when the zip file gets extracted by relativity processing, it will get captured into one of the metadata fields. Now, this is one of those things that's probably not that important, and file system metadata gets messed up even before data gets to message crawler with all the copying and zipping up and sending and stuff. So only really the internal metadata for like Word, Excel, and such would stay. But if you happen to have good practice in your forensic team and your JPEGs and stuff have file system metadata, message crawler will do a better job at preserving that. So when you're looking at attachments in relativity, you do see the last modified date of the attachment. All right, that's all I got for this update. This version should be up on my website now, so feel free to download it, give it a try, and let me know what else you would like to see added or changed. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next update.